So, Dave, when we broke, you were starting to cover territory that you covered in your piece entitled "The Progressive Case for the New England Patriots." In parentheses, seriously. Now, you also made the progressive case for the Philadelphia Eagles with a similar parenthetical because you don't like either team. Now,
I don't like either team, and both teams are very polarizing. And oftentimes, and I don't like the Patriots above all else because I think they're arrogant and entitled, and I think that they've cheated. I don't like.
What? Okay.
We could get into maybe that'd be a whole separate show. But I tell you, the now Los Angeles Rams, formerly St. Louis Rams, they've been all over press row this week at the Super Bowl, just saying out loud what they've said behind the scenes for years, which is they don't think that the Patriots win that first Super Bowl without filming their practices and studying what they did. It's like one of the undercovered stories this week is a lot of bitter former Pro Bowlers are on Radio Row being like, yeah, these guys are cheaters. But hey, let's remove that for a second. And a lot of people are polarized against the Eagles team because their fans are notoriously boorish. And both of those things are true in terms of the entitlement on the Patriots side and the whining, aggro, male boorishness on the Eagles side. But one of the things that I try to say in my piece is that painting those things with political colors and saying that, the Patriots are somehow Team Trump, which I argue is absurd, not least of all because a huge number of NFL owners cut million-dollar checks to Donald Trump. So the idea that they're exceptional in that regard is ridiculous. And on the flip side of that with the Philadelphia Eagles, the idea that going to an Eagles game is somehow particularly aggro, male, type A, frat boy boorishness, while going to other NFL games is like a la-la walk in the park, family is fun, is also absolutely ridiculous. Although I do make the case that exceptions need to go to Seattle and Denver where, there's legal weed, and I've been to those stadiums as well, and it's actually stunning. You go through the tailgating, and it's a much more chill atmosphere than, say, Buffalo, where you feel like if you look at somebody funny, someone's going to cave the side of your head in.
That's funny. I mean, in many respects, I mean, we're talking. The answer is, there's a lot of problems with the NFL if you care about progressive politics. I mean, not the least of which is what's happening on the field. But let's talk about so give us one or two points on the Eagles because
it's such a cool team. I mean, in so many ways. And when I say a cool team, I'm not talking about the fans or the colors or the city of Philadelphia. Although there's great things about Philly, of course. I'm talking about that there are players on this team who decided to commit their season to causes of social justice, chiefly Malcolm Jenkins, who's a safety who organized the Players Coalition to organize the players who had been taking a knee or raising a fist during the anthem to try to get the NFL to donate millions of dollars to social justice causes. And it looks like he's being successful in that. There's a separate show that we could do about maybe some of the problems in the organizing strategy or where the money's going. But the fact that he spent his year doing this and played at a Pro Bowl level is remarkable. And then you have Chris Long, the son of NFL Hall of Famer Howie Long, who was on the Patriots a year ago and refused to go to the White House. And Chris Long, in addition to spending the year in a beautiful pose of solidarity with his hand on Malcolm Jenkins' shoulder as he raised his fist, Chris Long happens to be from Charlottesville and was as shocked and appalled as all of us at the sight of Nazis marching and the murder of Heather Heyer, which took place in August. And his response to that was to donate his every game check this year to social justice and racial justice scholarships in the city of Charlottesville, where he went to high school and college.
He donated his entire paycheck?
Yeah, every year.
Wow.
Every week. The paycheck came in and bam, it went right out. It started with his first 8 checks, and then it was so good, and it felt so good for him to do this that he kept it going. And I got to tell you one of the coolest parts of that story also, which is that he got a lot of praise from people for being, as they put it, the anti-Kaepernick, because they said, oh, Chris, you're bringing us together while Colin Kaepernick tears us apart. And he went on this long Twitter rant about his respect for Colin Kaepernick, how Colin Kaepernick done just as much as he had, if not more, in terms of the money given away and the work he's done. And I just love that he was even sensitive that people were saying that and wanted no part of being that because Chris Long is white. And so this idea of people, even people on social media, even random anonymous troll bots saying that you're the good and Kaepernick is the bad, he wasn't going to stand for that. And I respect that so much. And then the last Eagles story, which I love, is that...
And we should say one more thing about
sure.
Chris Long. Didn't he go undercover, homeless when he was with the Rams or something? Is that...
Yeah, something like that. I wish I knew the story well enough to be conversant in it, but yeah, like he gave a damn about St. Louis. Yeah.
Impressive guy.
Yeah, very impressive guy. And his teammate, who was a MVP candidate before he got hurt, second-year quarterback Carson Wentz, this is the story that really impresses me the most. Is Carson Wentz, he's in his second year in the league. He's always sort of painted himself as almost like from Hollywood Central Casting. Like he likes to hunt and play quarterback, and he loves Jesus Christ and throwing touchdowns, and not necessarily in that order. And yet Carson Wentz, because of people on that team, particularly a former wide receiver named Jordan Matthews, who's a very good friend of Colin Kaepernick, he took Carson Wentz to Haiti to see the earthquake devastation, and Carson Wentz became passionately involved in trying to see what he could do to help Haiti. And then after Donald Trump made his comments about Haiti, calling it an S-hole country, you had Carson Wentz put out this huge Twitter stream, which must have infuriated his own base of fans, where he talked about how much Haiti meant to him. I mean, stuff like that doesn't happen unless you have a team culture that makes it happen.
Right. Well, I will say this. I like the idea that there may be players who on the Eagles could win the Super Bowl and then refuse to go to go to the White House, and you would have people who won the Super Bowl on two different teams and refused to go.
Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount.
However, with that said, I also like the idea of the Patriots winning again and refusing to go, and even more of them refusing to go this time, so that we can see a trend with an apples-to-apples comparison. And in fact, I'm going to have to go by that, but I will give you the last word. Who's going to win, Dave Zirin?
I really feel strongly about this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I like the idea of betting on the Eagles, who are the underdogs by, I think, 5.5, 6 points. And I like the idea of the Eagles winning this game 24-21.
All right. Well, we will.
Smart money. But I also think the big
we
point.
We will edit that out.
Okay.
Dave
the
Zirin,
biggest point is just to say people should have fun watching the game, take a day off from constitutional crisis.
Dave Zirin, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam.